Good morning. I think it's still morning. Yes, still morning here in Alberta. Good morning. Good morning. Coming in to do my morning live. Corey Thorne, the spiritual healer. Um, just trying to bring up on my
Good morning. Good morning.
phone. I'm just waiting to see, make sure I'm on. So I should be on YouTube and Facebook at the same time that I record, that I do these lives, and then the recording just post after. So if you're watching the replay, welcome. Thank you for being there. Good morning, Laura Lee. Good morning. Good morning, everyone else who's coming in. Linda, Carlene. Good morning, everybody. Just waiting for people to get in before I fully start. I'm just looking on my phone. Sorry. My phone is ahead of my computer, so I see things come on my phone. Good morning, Colleen and Tracy and Tracy. Two Tracys come in the same time. And Linda, good morning, Megan. So I just let the room fill up so the energy fills up in the room before we start. I'm in between clients again today, so just in for a shorter visit. I'm going around like a whole week with a Band-Aid on my finger because, the nail salon has been closed and I broke my fingernail off. I don't have a boo-boo. I got a broken fingernail that hurts. uh, double trouble. Yes. Yes, Tracy. I believe that would be double trouble. Janet, good morning. And so I'm just making sure I'm on YouTube as well. I did post a new channeled message. It's one of my prophecy kind of channeled messages on YouTube yesterday. That's on my Corey Thorne, the spiritual healer page. Good morning, Linda. I am doing well. I am. I was up and at 'em early this morning. I even had my first walk in by 8:30 this morning, or I was out walking by 8:30 this morning. So the sun is shining. The wind has finally gone down some, so I'm happy. I'm traumatized by wind. I swear I still have like PTSD from the wind. It's like when it's windy, I'm like, oh, you like my shirt color? Thank you. This is my workout shirt. So underneath, like, I'm in like workout shorts. This is how I'm working today. This is how I'm actually even working today. So I'm in workout shorts and top, and yeah. So when I'm done here, I have to go do my weights. I have to go do my weights before my next client. I do everything in like little increments to make sure I can get everything in a run of a day. So I am in to read the energy again today, to do forecast energy through the energy that we have happening today. Last night was the full moon. It was the whole essence. And I was laying in bed and I seen like this greeny, like whitey and lighty greeny color come across the sky. And I'm like, holy crap, like that looks like a dragon out there. And I don't usually see like a northern lights type of thing in Leduc, like not right in the center of Leduc. Is not that we don't get them, but last night the sky where the moon was coming up was like illuminating this light. And I went out and I got up out of bed and I went outside. Sorry to my neighbors, Alanka, I'm sorry. Alanka's husband comes out and he's like, what the hell? What is that flashing? It was me. I don't know. My camera must have been, the flash must have been so bright. I didn't even know it would be so bright. But I was waiting for the moon to come up. And as I was like, or as I was laying in bed, I had the blinds open and I could see like the sky lighting up. But the moon wasn't out. It was still coming up from behind. And the whole sky like lit up. And it was so crazy. And I went outside and I stood in the wind, and the wind was blowing. It was like this mystical-y kind of feeling that was going on. Like I could feel like these goosey bumps go through my body. Like there was some sort of shift of energy that was happening. And so I took pictures of this cloud, look and how it looked. And it looked like it looked like a phoenix. That's what it looked like, a phoenix that was flying into the moon, and how the moon was coming up. And it looked like this big phoenix bird energy that was like flying in. And I'm like, Oh, we are about to go through some big transformations. We're about to have some big changes. And I keep talking about secrets and reveals, and I'm like, there's a lot of things going to come out from the woodworks. And I feel like there's going to be I always say, when you push what you want so bad that you don't look at everything else around, all you get laser focused on what you want, that you don't realize that that bad behavior that comes with getting what we want, that tantrum, there's a ripple effect after. I feel like we have some ripple effects. Like there's something that's unfolding where, secrets are exposed and all that, but that's happening out in the energy. But these moons also light up the shadows of us, the parts of us where we haven't been on our best behavior, or where we haven't been our truest of selves, or what we need to let go of. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to my stepmama, Betty. Good morning. And so that moon was like it was such a beautiful experience. But I watched it for a few moments. I did my little prayers, and I went back in, and I got in bed, and I'm like, I just want to watch the moon come all the way up. And then I heard this so loud, and it was just this. I heard a spirit guide just say to me, what are you waiting for? Why are you staying awake, waiting to look at a moon? The moon never leaves. Just like love, hope, and faith. The God consciousness, that light, that illuminating light is never, ever not there. Even if you're not seeing the moon, it is there. Why are you waiting? That full moon is always in the air. It's always in the universe. That whole moon is always there. Why are you staying awake to see something that never, ever goes? Why do you need to see it to believe that it is there? You're a woman of strong faith. You have the ability that you always see beyond. So why believe the stories that the moon's like, oh, there's a quarter moon, there's a half moon, there's a full moon? You don't need to see the full moon to know that that full moon is always there. It never leaves. Never. That moon is always there. And so what parts of us, right? And so yeah, the phoenix is the rebirth. And so I went through the rebirth, a couple of years ago. It's actually in my book, the More Than Existing, when I came out of that deep depression. And so that phoenix was there, and I'm like, oh, we have like, this is like, so something left. And I felt like an old energy left. So you may have been feeling like a lot of things were being regurgitated for you, regurgitated for you. Frick, I couldn't even get that out. Regurgitated, like you were getting these memories or holding on to things or things coming back up. But it was also that we could finally let things die. So in order for us to let things die, we have to have exposure. We have to have it come to the surface first, right? So there's a lot of things that's coming to the surface, so that old stories, old paradigms. I'm like, it's old paradigm energy. There's this old energies, old stories that are just leaving, dying, and there is a rebirth coming. And I keep pulling it in that freaking card. I keep pulling it in the zero card. That every time I pull it, there it is. It comes up. And so there's this big shift that's on its way. And when I was laying there, I'm like, I know, so as I went to sleep, I just heard, what's coming for you. It's never not been coming for you. It's never not been in your life. It's never not been there. Everything has always been there. Everything has always been with you. And I just went to bed, and I just closed my eyes, and I woke up a few hours later, and I woke up, and all I could see was like a cloudy over the moon again. And I started to laugh, and I'm like, and I just closed my eyes, and I went back to sleep. And peace. I felt at peace. Like it was just a sense of feeling at peace. And myself and my students went through a big meditation in my Diamond Effects class last night, which was, I'm doing like the triad triangle energy with them. And so we were working through a lot of that energy. But the phoenix is what got my attention, not the moon, the phoenix. And that's, those moments, those experiences that I was, pushed to get out of bed, turn off the alarm system, go downstairs, go outside and stand on the deck and stand in that. Those are the changes of the winds that you're only going to see once in a lifetime. There's things that you're not going to see that often. There's changes, there's shift and miracles. Like you don't see the same miracle happen over and over every day. Miracles happen in that awe. And that's what it felt like to me. I feel as if there are miracles coming. So there's miracles coming into our lives. There's changes coming into our lives. And it feels pretty powerful. It feels pretty big. And I'm like, okay, I just have full faith. So whatever your stress and your worry is today, it's like surrender it over. Give it to God. And by give it to God, you just bring it into your truth of knowing that what's not in my control. What can I not control? And I've had to ask for some help and out there, and just trusting that what's coming in for us. As I just turned, I just got like everything just went blank on me. I'm like, whoa. So we're in the midst. So a big portal opened, and I just feel like I just keep hearing nothing will ever be the same again. Don't want things to be the same again. Don't wish for things to be the same again. But wish for there to be beauty, wish for there to be light, wish for there to be more. Like, I got nothing. I'm reading, I'm listening. I got nothing. I'm listening. I got the guardians. And so the guardian comes up, Willow comes up. And I just got this overwhelming sense of love, overwhelming sense of something good. And I don't know what it is. I think we have a lot of surprise energy coming in. Hold on, I got to get the cards up here. Give me a moment. Let me get the cards. Our cards are missing. So we have Willow, and Willow's number 38. I'm just bringing her up here. So this is Willow. And she's card number 38. And I feel like she's coming in with another channeled message. Of course, I've been constantly in this channel forever. So always remember that. I want, to really remember that often when you read my post or you're listening to me in my lives, you're listening to my work, I channel. So I'm channeling messages. And those channeled messages are coming from guides. They're coming from the guardians. They're coming from Jesus. They're coming from Mother Mary. They're coming from a whole different place than where we actually exist within. And so when you hear my voice change or I'm not looking at and responding to questions or answers or comments on the other side, I'm focused because I'm a vessel. I'm letting those messages come through, and I got to listen very carefully to make sure that I give the messages the way that it is need to be said. And so there's a lot that is going on when I'm in this channel. So we have Guardian, and she's Willow. And what I'm picking up, and this happened, this came as soon as Kim stepped in. Soon as Kim commented, so true, it was 11:54. And at that very moment, like 11:54 my time, I felt this shift. I felt this change. And I felt like this blank. I got this kind of eerie kind of silence come in. And I feel like we're going to go through this like kind of really quiet, peaceful time. And it's funny how that when it's quiet, people are like, it's uncomfortable. Or when somebody speaks the truth and everything goes quiet and everybody wants to step in and make a noise or be needed or to make a comment, like somebody wants to disturb that peaceful energy. What's wrong with quiet? What's wrong with silence? What's wrong with being quiet in a moment? So when I often go into meditations or when I go in to do any channeling healing work, when I take people in to do healing work and go into channel in the healing, is that I'll say, I'm going to walk away from you now. And I'm going to leave you with the healer. And I'm going to go silent. And as I go silent, I'm going to step away with the counsel, with the guide. And I'm going to not, I'm not going to be standing there with you. Like my whole energy is going to leave. And I'm going to leave you there. And people's energy automatically goes, oh, and they stop. They're like, and then you see them getting fidgety. We get uncomfortable, right? We get uncomfortable with the thought that we're going to be like left in silence. It's like air. So it's like when people, like when we go live, people often think, oh, I have to have a plan. I have to have a thought. I have to know what's happening next. And I feel like that's what we're being told. You don't need to know what is happening next. You don't need to know what's in the energy. You don't need to know what's coming. There's a secret that is not ready to be told to us yet. There is something in the works, and it's miracles and magic. I don't care what it is, but there's something that is coming through the airwaves, through the spirit waves, through the spirit world that is still a seed. There's still a seed. It is still growing. It's actually probably beyond the seed. It's breaking through the darkness. It's breaking through the ground. And yes, Carlene, it's like the calm before the storm, right? And we're going to have to go through those storms. It's like there's just this feeling that I have that is just like the blossoming of the flower. So we look at got it. So you look at a flower and you watch it every day opening, like watching a tiger. Yeah, not a bad storm. Not all storms are bad storms, right? Some storms are beautiful. And so, this is exactly what I'm describing now, right? So it's this flower. You watch a flower open and you think, oh, what a beautiful thing that it breaks its skin and, it breaks through the shell, it breaks through its skin. And then all these little petals start to unwind and start to open up, and it opens up. And we live in the awe that it is so beautiful because we're waiting for the beautiful flower to come out. But what we don't think about, imagine if you're the flower and you're breaking through your skin, that it has to be a bit of a painful journey. It has to, it's alive. So if a flower is alive, maybe it hurts. Maybe it hurts to break through that skin. Maybe what we're experiencing, what we're seeing as a beautiful process is not it doesn't say that it doesn't come without uncomfortableness, that the whole time that it's squeezed inside of there, it's getting uncomfortable. It's like watching a baby chick break way through its skin. It doesn't mean that it's comfortable. It just means that it's a beautiful process. So we witness a flower or the birth of a little baby chick coming out of an eggshell. We witness it and we live in awe that it's a beautiful process. When it comes to spirituality and when it comes to spiritually awakening up, is that when we see somebody breaking out their shell and coming out, we don't look at it as the same beautiful process, or we expect that it's going to be a beautiful process. Now we say that of awakening, it's not like that. You come skidding in from dusty, dirty, scabbed, that's how a phoenix moment happens. That's how a flower, your blossoming moment happens. It's not soft. It's not beautiful. It's not pretty. So when I post things in my work that I speak of the not so pretty process, it's amazing how we instantly want to nurture that in us. We want to nurture our friends. We want to support our friends. We want to hug them. We want to hold them. We want to be. But what if you're not meant to do that? That whole process is to see the beauty in the experience. So there's a beauty. And so I see, no matter what I'm struggling through that day, I don't let it take my internal joy, because there is something to learn from each and every experience. And I live in the awe of what I'm learning from what I am going through that day. So if I'm struggling, if I have a moment of where you're struggling through of, oh my God, why am I feeling like this again? Why is my hormones out of fucking whack? And I'm someone who's going through menopause, but can't take anything because I've had cancer cells, right? Because I've had lots of issues. And so, I'm not allowed to take those hormones. And so when you're having that and you post it, it's not that it's like the end of the world. It's part of the blossoming of the flower. It's a part of the opening of us. It is a part of the growth of us. It's a part of what we have to exist within to get to the good stuff. So we have to be willing to go through the uncomfortable to get to the good. And the reason why people stay stuck and why we don't evolve and why we don't grow is because we find a band-aid and we put a reason why I mentioned the band-aid in the beginning is because we put a band-aid on the ouch. We cover it up, or we find a temporary solution like a patch and we put the patch on. And it's like if spiritually awakening was so good, was such an easy process, everybody would do it. But it's when we get to the hard stuff and we think, oh, I don't want to be made uncomfortable. I don't want to be exposed. I don't want people to see me. I don't want anybody to see me cry. I don't want anybody to see me fall apart. And so I've kind of grown up I've grown up in the public eye, like behind in public. By what I mean by that is not a superstar. By what I mean by that is that I start working at 18, but in the meantime, we also had a business. So we worked at the business. But at 18 years old, I start working behind the chair. And so I was always 15, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. I worked with the public. So anything that was happening in my development and in my growth and in my life, I was always exposed. So I've always been okay with the world seeing the good, bad, and the ugly of me. Right? Because that was a part of my life. And so people would judge you. So you get judged based on what you are existing within in the moment. But what people don't realize is that's a part of the actual growth and the blossoming that is happening for you, through you, for you to become you. So at 50, I'm pretty much becoming into this essence of me. But there's little spurts of things that happen. So bring that into your reality, bring that into your life, right? It's like, and so if you were told to hide away, I couldn't hide. I couldn't take 5 days off of work because I just didn't feel like going to work because, I was being a biatch and I was being cranky and I was being miserable, or that I was going through a breakup. So if I was going through a major breakup in my life, I still had to go to work. I still had to be exposed, and I still had to put the face on, and I still had to be there to make everyone else feel good. And I still had to do my job and to show up. So I've always been showing up no matter what my challenge is. I took 3 days off when I would lose a loved one. And so that was how I ended up being judged on a big level, is that, we went through a major loss in our own business with our own staff and a dear friend. And I never missed a beat. I was teaching Reiki. I was working. I was at the salon. And so I continued to teach Reiki that weekend. I continued to go through all the things that was happening. But one of my best friends was going through the most horrific day of her life. But I was still in the show. And in that moment, I had a bad moment. And I might have said something out of context that I didn't mean, and it got turned around on me, and it got turned into this ugly freaking thing. And it wasn't my words that was repeated, right? And that took me down to my lowest. When I heard somebody judge me that way, in such a horrible way, it was like horrific. But I'm always in the public eye. And you could never come out of there. And so that was a part of that breaking out of who I was and who I was becoming. And so the guardian is here to tell us, be gentle with yourself. And so don't be afraid to let yourself be seen during those times, but also don't be afraid to take time for you when you are going through those. I never, ever did. I never once stepped away. I never once lost a beat. I never once I never disappointed a client and wasn't there. My daughter was paralyzed for 19 weeks. And I was at work, paralyzed. And my daughter was, pretty much being told until the doctor said to me, Corey, you are going to the city right now. And I don't know how long you're going to be gone. I was still working. And so all of those times, when you're not taking the times for you, is that you are going through all of these things. So you're breaking out. And so even though it looks like, even though, you may make it look beautiful, you don't have to make it look beautiful. You don't have to keep showing up for the world to go through that. But every bit of it is blossoming us into these beautiful parts of us. So my Phoenix moment was happening when I crashed and I burned. And the ugliest, my ugly moments do get seen because I'm always out there. I'm always in that public eye. I'm always speaking of it. I always talk of it so that other people can know that it is okay. So it is okay for you not to have for for you to go through those experiences to be where you need to be, but it doesn't mean that you're losing yourself or that it means you're going through your stages. There's a stages, but you can't go back to the comfortable. So I could have went back and just said, okay, I'm just going to go back to hairdressing. I'm not going to do this no more. And I'm just going to hide behind the chair and do those things. But I also couldn't do that, right? You got to know that part of the journey is for you to keep going, for you to not put a band-aid on it, for you not to only half-ass heal. The half-ass healing is like when you feel good, you're doing good. It's like losing 20 pounds down again. So that last quarter that we speak about, this whole journey that the guardian is telling you, is that we have to know that if we let ourselves come all the way through, if we don't be concerned about being shamed or hiding or anything. Let yourself go all the way through your process. Don't let them hug you and stop your tears. Let it out. Let it out and let yourself blossom and grow, because the beauty is not for somebody else to look at it and say, oh, look where she's come, or look who she is today. It's for you to look in at yourself and for you to see, to be able to acknowledge in yourself that your spine is up, your shoulders are back, and you're proud of where you are. You know that you have walked the journey. You know that and it's not saying we're perfecting it. It's not about perfection. It's about that you are witnessing your own unfolding, that you are looking in at your own life, and your own, your own petals. And so this is a big Metatron energy. It's like that whole Metatron-y kind of energy that's in here. We also have Uriel in here. So Uriel is in huge in here. And there's this angelic-y kind of energy that's saying, like, is that your wings are coming out. And I always say it's like our backs. It's like you get this heated up spot in your back. I'm like, that's your nubs. That's your angel wing nubs. So just like a flower, is that you have to go through this, that all storms don't mean they're a bad storm. It means we have to get through those things in order to get to where we need to go. So if you stand on the other side and you're afraid to cross a bridge, you're afraid to walk through life, you'll always be living as the shrinking flower. You'll always be living as, oh, I wish I had the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And you're not here to live in the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. You're not here to be afraid of getting dirty. You're not here to be afraid of getting your hands dirty. You're not here to be afraid of a little cut, a wound. You're here to know that we have been through big shit and we have been through these challenges. But when you are going through it, it's okay to step back. It's okay to go into self-love. It's okay to go into that place, but it is not okay to quit on you. It is not okay to quit on you. You're not here to quit on you. You're not here to give up on you. And you're not here to let somebody take your voice or take your light or to let that happen. You're here to blossom. That's why you came here. That's why you're here as a human. You're not here as a human to keep waiting to be a spirit, to return to being an angel or to get over there. You're not here to wait for heaven, to get to heaven to know what peace is. You're here to create your heaven on earth. You're here to create that happiness, that joy. You're not here to be comfortable. It's not comfortable. There's nothing about what I do, nothing about who I am that is fucking comfortable. Not one day of it's comfortable. Every single bit of this is a deep unknown. And it's not going to be ever nurtured by the material world. You're going to find happiness and joy. But to know that you have an internet, you have this innate joy and happiness within you. And to know that no matter what, that can't be taken from you. That it's there. That then you don't feel the need to be constantly trying to fill up, trying to please people, trying to make people happy, trying to make yourself happy. I don't try to make myself happy. I don't try anything. I'm allowing life to unfold. Right? Kim, thank you. The blank was what I was feeling when you talked about major positive changes in coming collectively. I'm surrendering to all and trusting all as well. Good, Kim. Yes, it showed up. It was as soon as you made that comment, Kim, my whole energy just went woof. And I'm like, there's a channeled message. So that was a channeled message. That was a truth. And they use my stories. So the channel uses my stories and my journey as a way to be able to, for you to relate and put it to your stories and how it relates to you, how it connects to you. So next time you're looking at a flower and you're waiting for, say, a tiger lily, and I say tiger lily because out in front of my house is full of them. And I'm wondering how I'm going to take those tiger lilies with me now when I move, because they're mine. I put them there. And so those tiger lilies, so when you're waiting for them to open, you are thinking, oh, I just can't wait. It's such a beautiful thing to watch a flower break open. But if you take the words, so when somebody writes you, like when I write a message like I'm breaking open, it doesn't mean that it's painful. It means it's part of the journey, right? So that flower, we think the flower breaking open is just all so beautiful, but it's not beautiful. It's not easy. And it might hurt the flower. The flower is uncomfortable. And the reason why the flower breaks out is because the flower it can't contain itself. It can't hold itself in there any longer. So then it explodes open. Well, that's us. That's like what you are holding in here is like, and then all of a sudden it goes blah and it comes out. And when it comes out, it's usually a truth, but it's not always such a pretty truth, and it doesn't come out the prettiest, but it's out. And once it's out, then it's out and you got to deal with it. And when you get it out and it's done, then it's like, well, frig, now it's out. Now I just might as well deal with that. And then you have the right to say, okay, now that I know it, now that I know this to be my truth, now that I know this is happening, this is a beautiful opportunity for me to retreat, a beautiful opportunity for me to sit with this, a beautiful opportunity for me to explore this and to be able to go deeper inside of me. So take the flower home to you. It's your flower. It's your flower. You're the one who's planted the seed. You're the one and you have the right to show what you want to show, expose what you want to expose, and not have to expose it all. I just happen to be out in public my whole life. And so everything I've done has been out in that public eye in one way or the other. And so there's a lot of judgment upon what people think you are and who they think you are based on what they experience by knowing you in 30 minutes over, say, 30 minutes of a lifetime. So 30 minutes in a chair and having somebody going through a hard day, but trying to put a face on, you can create quite the identity and quite the persona of who you think people are, but you know nothing of the rest of their lives. So you cannot base it around there. That's a moment in time, and they're all moments in time. So that's the Guardian card. I didn't even get to the second card yet. That's all under one card. So our guardians are the guardians of us is that truth of us. It's the strength of us. It's courage. Strength on one side, courage on the other, faith in the middle. Right? You're the faith. Have faith in you. Strength on one side, courage on the other, faith. That's us. So you're here to find your way home to courage, to strength, and to faith. Hold on. Exactly what I'm going through. The blankness feels after a storm I just went through. You're welcome, Kim. Yes, exactly, right? Yeah. Well, Melon, I just talked about all of that. And I also and I also got a few channel messages that are in there that talk about the rest of 2021. And I talk a lot about, and so the cards that just fell out on the floor was the unseen wound, which is Thekla, and then the beautiful transformation. And so I'm going to bring up these cards. And so this energy and what we have happening and where we are is that, do we let our fears and us in our previous experiences and our emotional connection, do we let them keep turning us into weapons? Because that's where, the biggest weapon that's being created now is humans turning against humanity, humans turning against each other, because there is a collective energy that knows how to trigger a response within people, that knows how to divide. And so when you can get society to divide against each other, when you can learn to get people to hate each other, to go against each other, that to divide because of different views that pull people so far apart, is that we become a weapon. So the humanity has become the weapons, and we've become humans. We're turning humans into weapons, and it's weapons of our tongue, it's weapons of our words, it's dividing each other, it's causing hate and division and all of those things that are not of our human nature. And as much as, like, we have, yes, we have the yin and the yang of each other, but that doesn't mean, like, to be protective or to be a warrior means to be able to go hunt. It means to be able to go provide food. It means to go be able to take care of what we need. But it doesn't mean to turn against the collective, like, to until one person decides to step out and they get a story to manipulate. And when the stories to manipulate comes in, then I'm gonna break the tribe, right? We're gonna break the people apart. And when you break people apart, you get people to your side, so you want to cause. And so the people then are used as to be weapons. I'm not doing individual session. This whole collective message is for everybody. We're doing it in my morning lives. It's collective energy. I'm reading the energy so it relates to everybody. And so this unseen wound is, what is your unseen wound? What is it that keeps you being a part of kind of becoming your own enemy? What keeps you fighting, keep getting involved in, like, becoming keyboard warriors? What keeps you, like, what is it that's holding us to becoming an enemy with ourselves, to know that all this stress that we're building up inside of us, all of this that's happening, that, hate thy neighbor, fight with people around you, to turn against each other, that all of that is now coming to an end somehow. I don't know how yet, but it feels like, it's like when we start to get caught in there, that anger and frustration then we start to get angry at ourselves, and we start to be very uncomfortable in our own happiness and our own joy. We don't know joy and happiness. And so when darkness starts to rule our lives, and that means our own shadow self starts to rule our lives, is that we lose faith, and we lose the ability to know that we can trust our own selves. We also lose our own strength and our own courage, and fear starts to run the show. And when fear is running our show, we tend to do things that are out of alignment to our truth. And so the guardian, the willow, she's coming in to remind us of faith, to hold on to the faith within, to hold on to faith in humanity, to hold on to faith in your neighbor, to hold on to that. If one person is an asshole, it don't mean everybody's an asshole. And that's the truth. And it's like, but when you turn everybody else around you into an asshole, you turn everybody else into an enemy, then now you are also one of the enemies, because you become an enemy to yourself. When you think the whole world is against you, or the whole world's talking about you, or the whole world don't like you, or the whole world, well, that's all the story. That when you are hearing yourself repeat those things over and over, you have to turn that into you, because you are speaking to you. And so the Ansi Moon Thekla is, we're ready to put down those words, those harsh words that we speak to ourselves, or that we speak about others, to not to judge, to criticize ourselves or others based on one experience, one moment, one time, whatever it is. whatever you are still angry at yourself over, whatever is still owning you, like to be able to put down the weapons on all of that and to let it go. That the storm and the storms are coming to an end. I feel like we've been through, like now it's like more of solar storms, more beautiful storms. And so beautiful storms bring change. And so the next card that comes up with it is, this is transformation, and it's the beautiful transformation. And this is Amara. And Amara, and this is my cards. For anyone who's new, this is my deck of cards. And this is all based on attitude and inspiration, right? It's like when we're staying in this, when we're staying in faith and we're walking and living in our truth and in light, is that we tend to be more inspirational. We tend to be happier and more joyful. When we start to get caught in our heads and caught in the headspace, and we start to get caught up in the stories that are happening outside of us, and we start to become like soldiers and warriors for a cause that we don't even know who even started it, or that we don't even know who's in charge of it, that we're fighting for a stranger, that we're fighting for people we don't even know, but we're willing to turn against the people that we loved, or people that were on our side, people that were our friends, our support, and we can turn our back against our own people in our own neighborhood, in our own, all because we're caught in a collective story that is out there. Then we have to stop and take a really, really good look. Who are we fighting this fight for? Who's winning? Who's lining their pockets from this fight? And it's definitely not you or your neighbor. It's definitely not you or your neighbor that you've become enemies with, right? And so it's not you or yourself that you've gotten to a fight with. And so then we have the beautiful transformation. And this is where we're headed. So this is the beautiful future card that is coming up. And she comes up in that light and love of that she's been through the storms. She's been through the fires. And as I spoke about, trauma from the wind, it's like she's been there, but now she's in the water. And so I was listening to astrology for the soul this morning, and he was talking about this, and I'm not an astrologer, so I'm a channel, I'm a mystic. And so I was listening to his, and he was talking about the Pisces energy being in this triad of energy. And I'm like, oh, so in the old way of astrology, in the original way of astrology, until they found another planet, then this was what we thought to be true. And this would have been like Pisces instead of Sagittarius that would have been through this full moon. Like something like that. I don't know exactly as it goes, but I'm like, so it would have been water instead of fire. So in reality, we actually have water and fire on Earth, which is in the energy that's around, but we also have air. So we have all four elements that are at play in what's been happening in the astrological cycle that is happening through this full moon. And I went, oh, and so there was one truth, right? You believe one truth until something shows up and exposes it, and then you find out it is not true. I spoke about this in my class I was teaching last night. So it's just like you get into this big fight with everybody, and you'll make enemies just to be right, and you'll say, that's not true, and they said that's not true, and they've done all these tests, and then all of a sudden, boom, something else comes out and say, oh, we were wrong. We're sorry, and we convinced you we were right. And everybody believed that to be true, but it really wasn't true. So now it's a lie. So now we have another story. So how about if we start to just be honest, transparent right from the get-go? We are unsure. We're still working on these things. This is possibility. This could happen. This could happen. But, it's your free will. You have a choice. And now that's more of a truth, because there's transparency. And when we're more transparent, and that's where my story goes, is that I have lived a very transparent life. And so I don't have a pile of freaking secrets. I don't have things that's hidden, because I've lived a transparent life. So things are true to me, and then all of a sudden something is not, and I'm like, okay, that really wasn't me. I don't know where that came from. And so that's part of our story. I keep getting an itchy ear. And so that's part of our story, is that, until they found another planet, you didn't know you had it. So you believed something to be true. And we lived by that. And we were just frigging fine. And then you find out another planet, and then you find out another truth. Well, that changes things. Well, now that wasn't true. Now this is a new truth. So come on, get into new truth. Get into new truth. Get into new truth. So now follow our new truth. And that's what's coming up. And that's going to lead us through the next part, the rest of 2021, is you're going to see a whole lot of new truth come, and you're going to see a whole lot of exposure. You're going to see a whole lot of where tantrums, we're running the show. You're going to see a whole lot of like that whole, and that's looking at our own lives too, of getting what we want comes at a cost. So when you want something so bad and you're willing to burn everything down to get it, you're willing to cause everything to get it. And then all of a sudden you're on the other side of it and you're like, oh, well, now we're finding out a different truth. What do we do with this now? We can't hide it no more. It's too exposed. So you're holding your world in your hand. What world do you want to live in? What life do you want to live in? I'd rather live in the one that's transparent, and to have the heads up, to know that it's going to hurt, to know that there's a possibility that it's going to be like, this could do this for you. Like it could work, it could not work. We don't know for sure, but you can take your chance. Like you can decide. I want to be able to decide. And I want the world to be able to decide for themselves, and to not be called every name in the world for not deciding, or for waiting on, to know this is your life. This is your life. And the guardians are telling us that you're the only one that can break free, to break out, and that what you're blossoming, growing is, don't mean you got to let the whole world know what you're doing for you. It's your life. You're living your life. And so you're walking forward. So that beautiful Amara is that she's aware that the world still has beauty, and she's going to find her own way into this beautiful world. There's rocks she could step up. She is knee deep in the water, and she has a choice to choose to step up, and to step out. I choose to step up and to take the high road, and to not get myself caught in the swamps, and not walk backwards, to keep coming forward, to know that there is a true truth that is out there. And most times that true truth is out there beyond the veil. So it is okay, no matter how brilliant you are, no matter how much you have a conviction, that you can say, I could be wrong. And by saying I could be wrong, and I'm going to be very transparent about being wrong, that there's a possibility I'm not right. And I live by that every day. I'm not saying I'm right. And I'm not going to be an influencer who's going to influence people's decisions and choices because I have an ego story. I'm telling everybody, and I do this in all of More Than Existing, this heal your instinctual self, your intuition, get the virus of the mind of the past history, and start being able to trust that you can think for yourself. And that it's that being transparent will actually lead to a more beautiful world. Let people decide for themselves. Stop being nosy Nora and feeling like you need to have an opinion about everything and have to be involved in everything and to be caught in those stories. Set ourselves free. Clear the clutter. Clean out your own closet. Do those things. And the world's in your hands. We've got the whole world in our hands, right? And so God's got the whole world in his hands. And that's God consciousness. We all hold our lives in our own hands. What you do with it, how you show up, what you believe, that truth. And I live by, no matter what my truth is that tomorrow that truth may change. And who I am changes every day. Same thing with a flower. It will live until it's outlived its truth, until it's outlived its color, its vibrancy. And you know what? We can't live by the fear story that you could possibly die, because that truth, that's been pretty fucking translucent since the day we got here. That there's going to be a day when you won't be here. So to live in the fear of death leaves us holding on to everything that keeps us living like we're dead while we're alive. And you're not alive. Coming to life means you're willing to go through everything you need to go through and to just break free, to let it out, and to be you. Live in your colorful world. Create your colorful world. Create your heaven on earth. That's why we're here. You're here to live and to know that truth can change any day. And I'm telling you, from the mystic from the channel, you're going to see some new truth coming forward. That's going to play out big time. So whatever you got yourself involved in and wherever you got yourself caught up and you made enemies with people that you loved, you might see some turnarounds coming around here. Just saying. And that's my message of the day. That's what I got for you. And I always notice that when we start to speak big truths, hard truths, is that people go, well, I'm not getting a reading, so I'm leaving, right? And so there's those, it's that these are truths. And so truths are, people don't want to hear truth. People want the fluff. And it's not one of those blow fluffs that from the dandelions that flows out into the air. That's a symbolic thing that people use for spirituality, for transformation. And it's like, that's not what it's really like. See that storm? See that picture? See that raging storm and the rough waters and the seas, but there's peace on her face and she's holding that peace? That's what it's like. When you can make peace with your past, you can make peace with everything. You're not here to be liked or loved. You're here to live in your truth. And when you can live in your truth, then you're living a true life. Live by that. And so that's the message for today. And if it makes us uncomfortable, that's what channel does. That's what the mystic does. And so that we can look at ourselves a little bit deeper so that we can break open and break out. So I hope it resonates with you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you for being with me. And that kind of gives you a little bit of an insight to what everyone's kind of year will be like. And we have a choice to choose to bury our heads in the sand and hide it and pretend, or we have a choice to keep walking through. It's a beautiful journey. And I can tell you there is beautiful things on the other side that is coming into our lives. Much love. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.